Good morning, y'all. Marlene Bush, Stitching by the Lake. Today is Saturday, May the 9th. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all of you out there uh, who are mothers and grandmothers and aunts and sisters and cousins who play that role in other people's lives. It's a beautiful day here. It got pretty darn cool last night, down in the 30s, I think. I didn't look at it when I got up this morning, but I heard the heat come on. And I know when I went to sit down in my prayer chair this morning, I had to turn my little heated throw on. My husband is outside working in the yard today, and I can see him from here. You may hear a motor occasionally. I'm not sure what he's doing. There's a lot to be done out there. It's a great big huge yard. And he's all covered up. He's had melanoma, so he covers up. He has on those shirts that are supposed to block the sun and this floppy hat and long pants. He looks like a hobo or something. I don't know what he looks like, but when he works in the yard, he really has to cover up good. And he has to be real careful because the chemo that he took messed up his internal thermostat and he gets hot very quickly. He's had heat stroke a couple of times, so I watch him. But it's really cool today and there's a nice breeze, and so it's a great day for working out there. In fact, when I get through with this video, I think I'm going to go out and work in my little garden. I've never done a garden before. Jerry's had a small one and we've raised tomatoes, but I've told y'all we actually have 2 raised beds this year that our grandson built for us, and then I have my container garden, and it's doing pretty good, except in one spot I have some okra planted that's not doing anything. It's alive. It's just sitting there. The dirt is a lot of clay, which I think is not good. Little do I know, but I'm going to go out there today and dig those up. They're just 5 of them, and I'm going to put some garden soil down and mix it all down in that clay and put my okra back in there and see if that helps. My other stuff is going great guns. I have a tiny little tomato. I have a tiny little bell pepper. My sweet potatoes the vines look beautiful. The zucchini's going crazy. And I planted some russet potatoes, and I saw 2 little shoots day before yesterday. I didn't go out at all yesterday. It was very windy and overcast, and my allergies have been horrific every time I've gone out when the wind's blowing. But anyway, it's all, well, not quite all. I lost a watermelon plant completely, and what was the other one? I think it was a cantaloupe that I lost. The pumpkin looks really good. Y'all, I have mostly one of all of those, okay? I do have 10 tomatoes. But I'm going to, I tried Donna, live in the She Shed, showed a celery that she was growing. And so I did that, and it's got a little root on it, and it's got a celery coming up. So I'm going to plant it out in one of the containers that the plant died. Sometime today I'm going to do that as well. Anyway, that's not what y'all came for. Gardening's not what you came for. It's been kind of a busy week at my house. Not for any particular reason. I'm not sure what all I did. I had Cade, our little 3-year-old great-grandson, Monday and Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I got to keep Cora, who is not quite 2 months yet. Her family, of course, is staying very isolated. Her dad was furloughed, so he's at home too. And I'm the only one who's actually been quarantined very much at all. So the only people that have held her so far are her mom and her daddy and me. Very sad. I'm very sad for my daughter, who is her grandmother, who's dying to get her hands on that baby and hasn't been able to because she's still working, and so is her husband. Anyway, I did that. I had the children. Well, I can't think of anything else. Regular old stuff. I've done a lot of stitching, y'all, a whole lot of stitching. And I'm going to tell you about my Mania week, but I want to do a couple of other things first. My sewing room is a disaster. I keep my fabric in DMC Drawers. I have 5 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 7 DMC cabinets. I was really, really lucky several years ago to run on a shop that was going out of business, and I bought all their DMC cabinets. And I keep my DMC threads in some of them, but then I have others that I'm using the drawers for fabric. So they had gotten so disorganized and jumbled, and I brought all the fabric in here and ironed it, left it all laying out for a day to make sure that it was good and dry from being ironed and being warm, and then sorted it into counts and put it back in drawers. So now I kind of have a good idea of what I have, and I have plenty. I don't have an overabundance, but I have plenty. I know that I'm lacking some neutral colors in 28, and I like 28. I like to stitch on 28. 32 is probably my preference, but I stitch a lot on 36 as well, and I have quite a bit of 36 neutrals and even 32s, but not 28, so I'll have to work on that. I also signed up for Victorian Motto Sampler Shop's fabric linen club, and I signed up for the 32 count, so I'll be adding a little bit to that. Anyway, I have fabric still in here everywhere. I haven't ironed all the Ada yet, and so I've got stuff laying around. I have threads. It's just crazy. And I have a little stack right here that I don't have the count for, so I'm going to have to get my little measuring tool out and do a count so I can figure out which drawer those go in. I wanted to show you something that I did while storing my fabric. I buy Young Living oils, essential oils, but you could use a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll, and I covered my little rolls with fabric, and when I ironed my banding, I wrapped the banding around these rolls and just stuck a pin in it and put these in the drawer to store them. Perfect. They don't get wrinkled. I can see them easily. They store great. I love doing it like that. So that's a little tip. And also, I was cleaning out some patterns this week. It's another thing I did. And I ran across this, My Darning Basket by Jackie Duplessis. I think it's an older one. And it's got the pattern in it. I looked at it, and I honestly, I'm just going to tell you, I think it's a little beyond me. It's got the backing and ribbons and stuff like that. I don't see any fabric in here or any threads. I don't see any linen is what I'm referring to, but the finishing stuff is in here, and I know I'm not going to stitch this. So if any of you out there would like to have this, I'm going to give this away. If you would just make a comment below and say something about a basket, and I'll use that word basket to do the random picking thing. Okay, so put that right there so I'll remember it for next time. What else have I got on here? That's it. Okay, I've been doing some short videos from my prayer chair, and on those I've shown some things I finished, but I know many of you have not been able to watch those. There's so many videos to watch right now. People have had time, and new people are making videos on Flosstube, and that's wonderful. So many young people, that just makes my heart glad. So I hope you're watching them. I have found several that I really like. But I want to show you the finishes that I've had. First of all, no timeline. I don't know when I did this. Make use of present time. This is a Plum Street, and it's part of her cereal bowl collection. I have 3 of patterns from this collection, and the other 2, that was lesson 1. I just showed you lesson 2, didn't I? No, that was my working copy. Sorry. That's lesson 1, make use of present time. This is lesson 2. These were kits that I bought. Sorry, there's a thread hanging on there. Ever faithful, ever kind, firm and generous be thy mind. And this is number 3. I love these. The daily labors of the bee await my soul to industry. And she's of course got the threads in there, and they're just lovely. This is my finish on that one. Isn't that pretty? Now, I did something different. What did I do? I left something off, I think. I leave things off all the time. Yes, on the pattern, she has a little ABC right up here in the middle, which I didn't care for. And I didn't like the bird. I love birds, but I didn't like that bird. He just seemed overpowering to me, so I left him off. And then when I left him off and tried to just freehand that, it changed the look of the tree a little bit, but not a lot. I don't think you probably would notice it if I hadn't told you. So that's a finish. To the side. And then I finished Home of the Brave. This also was a series. This is from Little House Needleworks. There were 3 of these. They're old, they're not new. I've had them quite a while. I have finished one other one, and I've had it done for quite a while. It's Land of the Free, has been done for a while. And I have one more kit to do, Long May She Wave. This is my finish on Home of the Brave. Yeah, right side up. Home of the Brave. I changed the year, of course, to 2020 since I just finished it. I also finished Hello Summer by Plum Street. This one looks quite different to me. Now, here's another one. She has an eagle here, and I didn't care for that eagle. I left the eagle off, and I left off Hello Summer. That's Linda Jo's fault. She left it off of hers, so I left it off of mine. And this is, the colors look different. Mine looks more rust. And I had that happen on something I'm working on. Last night I started a new pattern from Blackbird Designs. I didn't bring that in here, but the color of the house was, the thread was Little Brown House or something like that. In the picture, the house is red, and Little Brown House was not red. That thread was not red. And so I pulled the DMC that she had on there, and it was red. I don't know what that deal was. But anyway, I changed to the DMC thread. I also finished Judge Not, which was my second oldest whip. It was from 2017, I believe. Finished this one, and he looks like this. Love, love, love this one. I used all the Call For colors. I switched them around some. I made my own little sheep, made them kind of unique to me. Just kind of distributed the colors where I thought they ought to be. A little more red here, a little more black there. And I'm anxious to get a frame for this one. It's big enough that I could make a little throw pillow, and I might do that, I'm not sure. And then this one that you've all seen before from the Bee Cottage, called the Bee Pincushion. I stitched this back early last fall. I remember that I was at my Aunt Joyce's, and she passed away in October. So it was probably in September. I stitched that for my sister, made it into a little pillow. And so I stitched it again for myself. Okay, now, Stitch Mania. What did I do this week? I stitched a lot, y'all. You know, I'm doing a small Mania. I think that's what Lori from Mischievous Stitches is doing as well. I think hers, though, she said 120 by 120 or less, and I said 100 by 100 or less, mainly because I wanted to be able to finish some of them and get them done and away. You know, when you've got a big stack of patterns that you really, really want to stitch, if you can get some of them out of your stack, it just makes you feel better. So that was my goal. That's what I headed for. So, day 1, May the 1st. I've got these all stacked up, but not quite in order, and I really want to do them in order because I'm a little OCD. I should have stacked them up like that. That would have made me feel better. Yeah, I know, craziness. Robin on an Egg is a free pattern from Bent Creek. And I think Nicole Buckeye Stitcher gave this to me. And I changed the colors a little bit because I didn't have all of them. And I did not stitch this border. I'm going to make a very small, I didn't want the border on there because I want this to be very small. It is not going to fit on my Altoid can like I wanted it to do. I don't know why, because I used the same count fabric that the pattern called for, but maybe I should have checked that before I stitched it. Anyway, I have a little small box that I think this will go on just barely. And if not, I'll make it into a little tuck pillow. Did that, started that, finished that on the 1st. On the 2nd, I started, what did I, y'all, sorry y'all, I can't read that far away. Another bird. There's another bird here. Aha. I have to get this magazine out. Sorry, y'all, and I left it in the bag. I shouldn't have done that. I started out of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, the premiere issue. I told y'all someone gifted that to me. This piece right here. This is by Nikki's Creations. It's called A Bird Needle Book. So, see, I really do like birds. I stitched these birds. However, I did not stitch the scissors. Didn't care for the scissors. So I didn't stitch them. And now I've lost the piece to show it to you. There it is. This is just a random piece of fabric that I found in my stash. I don't know what it is. It turned out pretty cute. And I'll make a little needle book out of that. So, May 1st, May 2nd, starts and finishes. May the 3rd, I started this pattern. This is not a finish. Scattered Seed Samplers. This is called Little Berry Thief. And somebody I watched was also going to do this one during Mania. I don't remember who it was now. I think it was Primitive Stitcher maybe. And I've started it down at the bottom. There's a pattern on here. So I'm hoping that I did it right. I've never done a strawberry. Hoping that's enough room. I absolutely could hardly make myself stop stitching on this one to move to the next day. so, so pretty. And again, I don't know what this fabric is either. I just pull out something that whatever I find. And then on May the 4th, I started this pattern, which was new at market from Brenda Gervais. I Collect. And I changed colors on this because I didn't have them all. Y'all, I promise this was more organized when I got started. I don't know how I managed to mess it up. And that was a day that I had Cade. I had Cade. It was on a Monday. And so I didn't get as much done that day, but I got the jar finished and then started on the first tomato. And the tomatoes in this, you can't tell. I don't have any red on there. It does have two colors of red, but one is only used right up here. And then the other one's used in these two. And I did not have those. So I chose, well, I had this one, chili pepper. I think it calls for that. Chili pepper. Let me hold it up against my white hair. Then you can see what color it is. There you go. And I'm going to use that for all three. It's got just enough variegation in it that it's going to show up as a kind of a different color as you go along. Let me see if that's what it's called for. That's not the part, Marlene. It calls for tomato and chili pepper. And tomato was the one I did not have. So I'm going to use all chili pepper on that one. On Tuesday the 5th, I started Stitching Is My Heart's Desire, this pillow. That was the one I was doing that day. And I finished it. And this is what it looks like. Stitching Is My Heart's Desire. I used the Call For colors. And then the next day was another day that I had Cade, so not quite as much stitching time. And I did the fob from that pattern, and I finished it. These are the two for those 2 days. Okay, then that was Wednesday the 6th. Then Thursday, I watched Heidi Cran. I love her. And Heidi had stitched this pattern right here at Easter. She did it Easter Sunday. And I just loved it. I just loved it. So I went immediately and downloaded the pattern. It comes from Etsy, Country Rustic Primitives. And hunted up fabric. I had the called for threads, which were 2 DMC threads, and I chose a 30 count Confederate gray. It calls for a 32 count. I really wanted to put it on a 28 and make it a little, I wanted it bigger, but I did not have a 28 that I thought would work. So this is what I used, and this is how it turned out. So that was a start and a finish, which, oh man, I love that. I just love this pattern. I may have to stitch that again for some friends. So that was my first 7 days. May 1st through 7th. And then I'm not going to tell you what I did yesterday because I'm going to do these 1 week at a time. Yesterday was not a finish, I can tell you that. But, and I don't know what I'm going to do today. That He Is Risen was not one I had planned on the I Collect from Brenda was not one I had planned on. I had told you about, because I showed y'all all the 20, and those weren't in there. The one from Brenda Gervais, I Collect, I was cleaning out patterns this week and going through hers, and I have a folder that's all Brenda Gervais, and checking to see, looking for something to see if I had it that someone asked me about. And there was that pattern laying right on top, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do that. I'm just going to have to do it. So I pulled it out, which means, of course, now I have 22. If I do all the rest of them in my original plan, and those two, that means I'll have 22 starts this month. And if you're going to have 22, heck, you might as well go on to 31, right? I mean, why not? I think I'm losing my mind. If I think I'm going to be able to do that, I know the day is coming when I won't get to do any stitching. Not that I have just a whole lot planned. Obviously, I am still isolating so that I'll be able to keep Cora, because that's more important to me than getting out. Although, I did warn her mother that if my beautician calls and has a spot, I will most likely be going to the beauty shop. I don't know that I can turn that opportunity down. I'm shaggy. Just, it probably doesn't even, y'all probably don't even notice it, but I do. And that's the way we are, isn't it? I mentioned in one of my other videos that I watch Miss Lori at Whippoorwill Holler. She's a homesteader, and she does canning videos and cooking videos and gardening videos, and I absolutely love her. She lives up in North Arkansas, North Central Arkansas. She and her husband. And she had hair, gray hair down to her waist, and I just thought it was beautiful. She did a new video yesterday, and she had cut her hair. She looks gorgeous, of course, with her hair at shoulder length, but it was bothering her and not bothering anybody else, and so I don't, I understand why she wanted to cut it. We're funny about that kind of stuff. Women in particular, although right now my husband desperately needs a haircut. He's always gone to a barber shop and never had to call and make an appointment, and now he's struggling a little bit with the idea that he has to call and make an appointment at the barber shop. It's funny. Not much else going on, y'all. I'm planning 7 more starts. I started one yesterday, and I've got one out for today. I'm just kind of pulling them randomly. I'm thinking very seriously, even though I'm isolating, I'm thinking very seriously about getting out a little bit. In the last 2 months, it's been 2 months, it'll be 2 months Monday that I've been home. I have been out once to Walmart, once to Sam's, both early in the morning when there were not many people there. I've been twice to the greenhouse to pick up plants, and once to the Lowe's plant thing when they open the doors. I go real early and there aren't many people. And I wear my mask and all that stuff. I'd love to go to Hobby Lobby, but I'm not going. I've ordered a lot on Amazon and a lot from other places, but not horribly. It's kind of odd to just order things now that you need. I needed measuring cups because one of mine had broken, and ordinarily I'd just run down to the Dollar Tree and pick up some measuring cups, and I ordered them from Amazon. Jeez, they delivered me 2 little sets of plastic measuring cups. Anyway, I'm rambling now. That's about it, y'all. There are so many of you that I am able to speak with and text with and talk to, and so I am grateful for the friends that I've made through Flosstube, and I'm missing some of you that I have not gotten to see or talk to. But I feel like I'm just sitting here with you when I'm talking to this camera. I'm really, really enjoying Anna from Stitch Roadies. She sits and just talks and sometimes shows cross stitch and sometimes stitches, and She has a very wonderful Flosstube if y'all haven't watched her. Daylene had a birthday this last week, so happy birthday to her. I've already told her happy birthday, but happy birthday again, Daylene. Uh, and for those of you that I didn't know about that had a birthday, happy birthday to you too. Okay, y'all, that's it. It's 30 minutes and I need to get off here and get cracking. I got stuff to do today. Gardening stuff to do and cooking stuff to do and so on. So I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend and I'll see you again in a few days. Bye-bye.